My sister's BF tried to kill her and used my child as a hostage. Just to start off, everybody is okay. He was caught and arrested and is currently in jail with a bond his family can't afford. I don't know where to start, but I guess I'll start by I'm traumatized. As a parent, the second worst thing that could happen happened. First being death. I didn't know where he was for 6 minutes, but it feels like it was 30. I feel like I was the last person contacted to know what was going on. I'm angry. I'm angry at my sister's BF. I'm angry at my sister, and I'm angry at myself. I know I shouldn't be, but I am. To make a long story short, my sister was supposed to watch my son a couple nights ago. She said she wouldn't be off work in time, but that he could watch him for 30 minutes. I thought it would be okay, since it wasn't a long period of time. I was so wrong. I got a bad gut feeling when I pulled in to drop him off. I ignored it. I chalked it up to being anxiety, and I was just being selfish and wanted a fun night out. I get a call around 45 minutes after dropping him off. Sister's BF just came to her workplace, beat her up, crashed her car, took off with my child in that crash car. I called back, and she told me that they found him, but I couldn't see him yet. I was instantly thinking he was dead. That was the worst 6 minutes of my life. Basically, my sister tried to break up with him that morning, but in his eyes, she's not allowed to break up with him, and that's what started all of this. I guess he was using their dog as a hostage at first, and so my sister got her other sister to get her dog out of that situation. She said she was going to tell me not to drop off my child, but that he was acting fine and had calmed down, so she didn't. But I really wish she did, and I'm mad she didn't. I would have never dropped him off. He pulled up to her workplace, told her if she didn't come out, he would harm my child. Speeds off into an alleyway by her work, strangles her. Told her, "Do you really want to break up with me? I just want you to know if you break up with me, me and my child are going to go on a ride." She says no, and he calls her a liar and crashes into her job sign, totaling her car. Then tells her if she tries to run or scream for help, he'll kill my child. Hit her again, more arguing, starts to speed off to try and kidnap her, and she jumps out of the car and runs screaming into her job. Police found my child alone in their apartment with the door locked. He dropped him off and took off on foot. He turned himself in after hiding for about an hour, crying and admitting everything. My child is fine, didn't know what was going on, thought they were playing. But I'm not okay. My sister isn't okay. She's been left with a large financial burden as they live together and is out of a car. She's traumatized. I feel so bad for feeling angry with her. I know I wouldn't know what to do in that situation as I've never been in it and she was in fight or flight, but I am angry. Irrational or not. I'm angry she didn't let me know they were having problems. I'm angry she jumped out of the car screaming after he said he'd kill my child. I'm angry I wasn't told immediately. But I also feel bad. I've always been my sister's protector, and I wasn't even worried about her when this was going on. I was only worried about my child. I feel more angry that my child was involved than about what happened to her, and that's terrible. Why I feel this way, I don't know what to do with it. There's so much more I could say, but at the end of the day, I am so thankful that my child is okay. I prayed so hard. I'm thankful my sister is physically okay with only mild bruising. And I'm thankful he's in jail, just hoping for a strong sentence. Edit. I feel like there is some confusion. The dog hostage situation happened around 1 or 2 p.m., I think. And I dropped my son off at 7:45 p.m. Not to say it wasn't bad judgment, but there was a good chunk of time in between the instances. However, I do not wish to condemn my sister or press charges on her. That wasn't the point of this post. She was just as surprised by this as I was. She was not covering for her abusive boyfriend. She had a bad lapse in judgment. She immediately ran into her job screaming to call the police and helped get him in jail. I definitely will be more cautious, though, moving forward, but please refrain from the super harsh comments about my sister. She didn't intend for this to happen. Y'all have helped me feel justified in my anger, though, and I really appreciate that. And maybe it's because she's my sister and she doesn't have a bad bone in her body, but you are right. Her dog is her baby. She definitely cares more about him than her nephew, and if it was him in the car, I don't think she would have jumped out. But I'll just have to sit with this for a while. Edit 2. I think that's the most chilling thing of all. He looked me in my eyes and said, "Your child has a safe place to stay tonight," before I left. And he just seemed so calm and normal. I never expected this to happen. Update. Happened back in May. He ended up only getting 6 years probation. Right before my sister was to testify, they came and told her he took a plea deal. She was off the case and couldn't get any updates after that. His mom ended up sending me a very hateful and abuse-enabling, victim-blaming-ass message on October 8th. He died November 22nd. Either an overdose or suicide or both. Not completely sure. Not much of an update. Don't really know how to feel. I'm glad he can't hurt anybody else, but sad he didn't get a just full sentence and got the easy way out. It's been a weird month. Edit. I realized I left some things out. He ended up posting bail after. I guess his family did indeed have money. About 2 weeks after all of this happened, my sister left work and found him asleep in her car. She got a coworker to take her home, and the next morning he showed up at her home and she called the police. He was arrested without bail this time. He ended up getting a nice lawyer, and the rest is history. Me and my sister have not been on speaking terms since June, besides occasionally on Sundays when we meet with the family we'd exchange a few words. After his death, we have since unblocked each other and have been in low contact. Hopefully we can move forward and work on our relationship. Comment 1. This is a huge update. One less woman-beating, child-abducting psycho in this world. Comment 2. He get let off light with a plea deal and got to continue to be a threat to your sister. That's not right. I really hate it when judges let men like this off light, as if they're suddenly going to become a normal human being and leave their victims alone. Once they escalate, they never de-escalate. Yes, she left court and moved out of her apartment that same day. He financially and mentally ruined her. And his ex texted my sister after he messaged her through the jail app and tried to lie and showed her SS and pics of how he acted and the bruises he left on her. She wasn't the first girl he had done that to. I'm glad my sister was the last, though. I hope at least. Comment 3. I'm not really sure I would call death the easy way out, as it is the ultimate final punishment. Hopefully, he suffered as he was dying, but really, screw him. How are you doing? How is your son handling all this? OOP. My son is pretty young and doesn't fully understand the concept of what happened in death and all that. But I mean, with me, like I said, just been a weird month. The week it happened, I had finally completely cut off my son's deadbeat dad. I had just lost my job, got some bad news, and found out he died all within the same week, so it was a lot. I do think it was a good outcome, given he was only given probation and not jail time, and could do it to another girl/family. Me and my sister have been on bad terms since, and we just reconnected after he died, and can hopefully work on our relationship. I don't know, I think it may finally be time to get into therapy, though. Comment 4. Thank goodness the little boy just thought it was a game. But OOP is very justified in being angry at her sister, because if my BF threatened to kill my dog, I would simply not leave him alone with a small child in the same day. Comment 5. As for the kid, even though he thought it was a game, I'm willing to bet money on the possibility that this was more traumatizing to him than anyone realized, himself included. He's 5, he's not going to be able to have the capacity to explain whether or not this harmed him in the long run. Sure, that's an age where you can state if something was scary, but the underlying vibe will have definitely been picked up, and years down the road it might still come out. I would be very mindful of that if I were OOP. Comment 6. He's going to tell the story to someone one day, laughing and smiling and thinking it's possibly funny, until it hits him and everyone else that it was actually traumatic. Then he'll go quiet and think back on it, and possibly have a panic attack. Source: have done similar with traumatic things in my past. Comment 7. Hopefully the kid doesn't learn or realize the situation surrounding him being left alone that one time until he's old enough to handle and process it. So like 26 years old. Comment 8. I know abuse mess with your brain, but it simply wouldn't matter to me. You'd never be a safe person in my mind again. Comment 9. I'm guessing the sister thought this. He never hurt a child. I should have OOP drop my nephew off because he'll be nice while a kid is around, so I'll be safe. Comment 10. What people don't seem to understand is that victims can be shitty people too. If they're selfish before they start getting abused, you can't blame the DV for their selfishness. For example, one might say, they're not selfish, they're being abused. It's not self-centeredness, it's self-preservation. But OOP said her sister was always very kind, so that might not apply here. The other thing is, while abuse messes with your head, it doesn't change you every second of every day. What I mean is, for example, you'll be more depressed overall. But not every one of your thoughts, feelings, and actions henceforth will be tainted by that depression. People still retain some of themselves. There's still some free will. There's still consciousness. Not only did the sister not try to stop OOP from dropping off her kid, but she actually forced it. OOP was about to leave her kid with someone else. Later, she jumped out of the car, leaving her nephew behind. Later still, she acted cagey and withheld information. In the end, she rug-swept and minimized and pretended like it didn't happen. That's a lot of questionable behavior. I can't confidently blame all of that on the sister being abused. As someone who's been through DV myself, I'm always advocating for survivors, but a lot of this just seems off. Sister doesn't pass the good person test, and it has little to do with being a victim.